Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Sincere from the Standard 81 podcast, and I am back for another Wednesday rant. Today is going to be a rant. But before I go off, let's take a 30-second break, get our minds right, and I'll be right back with you in three, two, one. Hey, what's up, everybody? So I am back with a Wednesday rant, and like I said, this one is going to be a doozy. Wow, the high definition in this thing is amazing. Excuse me while I drink some coffee here, real quick. Let's get into this. It is 2024, and just in case I haven't said it, Happy New Year to everybody who watches and rocks with me. I appreciate you. I am building this up, and I am going back and rewatching a lot of my stuff to try to see how I can give better quality and mostly show my personality and draw more interest. But that's not the reason I'm here right now. I'm here to go off, and in particular, I want to go off on several things. But the first thing I want to go off on is, what is 2024? What do I think 2024 is going to be like? Let me say this in preface to this. I think each year is what you make it, right? Each year is what you make it. In saying this, if you are diligent and consistent in the things that you do, whether good or bad, those are the rewards you're going to reap within that year, right? But I'm going to say this. Now it's time for us to pick a side. And this is the first thing I'm going to go off on. Now it's time for us to pick a side, right? We either good or bad. And I mean literal good and literal bad. Ain't no more of this bad is good and good is bad. No. Because we already have that controversy out in the world as it is today. We are considering everything that is bad good, and everything that's good bad. And particularly for the black demographic. Let's talk about it for a little bit. All right. So the culture in and of itself has already had a very bad reputation amongst media and amongst mankind in general as being degenerates and as being low lives. And within the last year, moving into this year, we haven't helped it any. We continue to do the same thing and glorify the same people that have ultimately brought us down to where we are today. Right? So my question is, how do we fix this? Well, we got to start picking a side. Can't be no more of this gray line stuff no more. Can't be there can't be any more of this. Oh, I kind of want to walk in between. See, as Christians, we know this. As people of God, we know this. We know that there is no gray line for us. While we know that, hey, look, our walk is going to be step by step, and we're going to have to change over the course of time. But we know ultimately, as Christians, if you're a believer, as Christians, we're supposed to be changing our actions to be more like Christ and less like the world. The problem is, as I see, is most of us want to be more like the world and have the benefits of being like Christians. We idolize the things that we have, the money that we get, all this good stuff. But let me tell you what this comes with. As you're seeing, it comes with a bunch of compromise. It comes with a bunch of controversy, and it comes with a bunch of fallout. See, we got to start asking ourselves, what is it worth to us in order to get the things that we want and be in the places that we want to be in? Because look, it's not enough to say, oh, we trying to build wealth and we trying to do all this stuff in order for us to come up to another level. And all at the same time, we got to build and we got to bend our knee to everything that goes against exactly what we are applying. Let me say this. You cannot fight fire with fire. I don't care what you say. That don't make no logical sense. Another fire is not going to put out a fire. All it's going to do is accumulate and make the fire bigger. See, some of the things that we say, they sound great as cliches over videos and movies and stuff like that. But really, in order to get somewhere different, you got to do the opposite of what you've been doing. So we've been trying to reconfigure and re-scheme and come up with ways to make things better when ultimately it has been making things worse. It's evident all over the place. Not particularly for and particularly for black folks. It is for everybody, but especially in our culture because we seem to be lacking in areas. We are trying to spend so much time trying to catch up with everybody else that we fall in steps and steps behind everybody. When honestly, we were the first ones here. Let's be sensible about this. And I told you in Wednesday rants, I don't like to bring a whole lot of logic and facts in it, but when you know these things, you just know. Biblically speaking, and geologically, well, biblically speaking and geologically speaking, it has been mapped out for us that Eden is somewhere between Israel and Africa. Now, I don't know of anybody of the Caucasian persuasion that has genuinely come from either of those areas that hasn't been an immigrant or somebody that has that's come from another area into that area. Now, are there people of varying complexions in these two places? Yes, absolutely. But for the most part, you're going to see either black or brown people, or brown or more caramel colored people in these particular areas. So, geographically speaking, we were the first. So, why is it that we, who were the first, have fallen so far behind everybody else? It's because we keep on trying to waver in between, and we're worried about things that we have no idea and no real reason to be worried about. What's the money going to do for you when you get old? What's the business going to do for you when you're no longer able to work it? What's the degree going to do for you when education don't matter as much? Please don't get me wrong and saying you say sincere. Them things those things are important. Yes, they're important because right now they're essential to our way of living. But if those things go away and they're no longer considered an essential part of living, what do we have? And here's the answer for it. Unfortunately, nothing. We have a big fat bowl of nothing. A big fat bowl of nothing. And we wonder why we keep on losing. We wonder what we can't be both progressive and and conservative all at the same time. I lost the word there. We can't be both Democratic and Republican all at the same time. I don't like to get political in these. I really don't. But it's time for us to start picking sides and not worried about what people think about us. Not worried about what the image is. As long as we're doing the right thing, we need to stick to our guns. Because see, the problem is the other people and other systems and other thoughts and beliefs have come in and infiltrated everything, and it's causing confusion and a ruckus. And now we don't know what to think. We don't know what to believe in. When at one time, our culture was as solid as rocks. Did we have our problems? Granted, yes, we did. We sold each other into slavery. We had tribal wars all the time. But what culture didn't? Somehow, when they got here into the States, they came together and began to see we're the only ones that are going to look out for each other. So let us look out for each other. Yeah, and still, we don't get it. We're so worried about individual accomplishments, things and things out of our control. Let's control what we can control and then worry about the rest later. Let's fix the things that we can fix. We can fix ourselves as individuals and start coming together with one another. It's a simple thing. It's one simple thing. We can start speaking to one another when we see each other. We can start acknowledging one another when we see each other. We can start saying, "Hey, marriage is this. This is what it looks like. This is the standard for us. If you don't like that, cool. Do what you want, but you're not included." You can say, we're going to bring our monies together and our minds together to start making a better foundation for us. Because here's the bottom line. Here's the bottom line. The world as we know it, the system and its people is going down. This is done for. But what we can do is make things easier for us to live within the time that we have. We keep on talking about we want an easy life of comfort. The problem is we don't want to work. We want to work for the things that we think are important, but we don't want to work for foundational principles. We want to work our fingers to the bone in order to gain material possessions such as cars, houses, money, when that's not the point. I'm going to keep on saying that over and over. That's not the point. Life is about people. Y'all think y'all think I don't believe that? And y'all think I'm just ranting like all the rest of these people on the internet. I'm just saying stuff because it sounds good and it might get me clicks and views. No, I believe that 100% because as a believer, I know that this plane that is called Earth is going down. It ain't nothing we can do about it. But we can make things better for the next generation. And this is not talking about money. This is not talking because, and this is my own belief, I believe at some point none of that stuff is going to matter. I don't believe any of that is going to matter after a while, because if you're not following along with the system, let me say it, if you're not following along with the system, meaning the way people view and do things, it's not going to matter how much money you have, how many businesses you got, how, whether or not you're left wing, right wing. It's just going to matter. Let me prove this. In Asia, there's a certain thing that's not totally implemented, and I'm not sure where it's at, but it's called social currency, almost like a credit score, but it's a social score, right? And that social currency dictates what you can do within society, and it doesn't matter how big you get or how small you are. Based on your social currency, lets you know the amount of freedom you have to move within their society. I believe that's what America's coming to. If we don't start picking sides as not only individuals, but as a group. They've been trying to divide us all along. The tactic of the enemy, and I'm not talking about the white man, the tactic of the enemy of our souls is to divide us so we don't see the play. It's been like that all along. But first things first, we gotta divide and eliminate the individual. We gotta divide and eliminate the family unit, because if we can divide the family structure, the thing that holds the glue together and eventually is going to build a structure. Check this out. A biblical example. God Himself, God Himself knew that when people put their minds together and they start coming together as a whole, they're unstoppable. That's the reason He stopped the Tower of Babel, because they had come together under one evil umbrella and said, we're going to build a tower to the sky. We're going to be larger than God. And God Himself realized, if I don't intervene, they'll be able to accomplish it. Because when they're all together, they're unstoppable, because I have put my DNA inside of them. And if I've put my DNA inside of them and I'm unstoppable, what makes that for them? But now we all want to be individuals. We all want to be self-serving. We all want to be this. We all want sacrifice. Are you willing to sacrifice for what you want? Because you see it in some measure. We see it in the things in the things that we want to accomplish, and in the success that we want to have, and in the type of lifestyles we want. We're willing to sacrifice our whole lives. Some of us, even our souls. We're willing to sacrifice our reputation, our values, our virtues, everything about us. We're willing to sacrifice in order to get some of these things. But then when they say, "Hey, come together as a unit," we're like, "Nah, nah, can't do that. That's too much like doing something right." And the interesting fact is, which brings me to my second rant. It trickles all the way into the relationships. We glorify ourselves within relationships. We glorify the things that we can accomplish within relationships, instead of thinking to ourselves, how can we be of service? How can I utilize the knowledge and the tools and the things that I have learned in order to help another brother or a sister, my brother and sister, or the spouse that I am with, in order to increase and grow and build an actual legacy and actual generational wealth? Black Wall Street wasn't killed because Black Wall Street had so much money. No, 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 no. Black Wall Street was demolished because they realized if they kept going like that with that high economical value and they kept it within that culture, within that race, eventually they were going to be built up as a superpower and they had to smash it. There was too much unity in that. And guys, for real, I'm not one of these pro-black people, but I cannot neglect the fact that that's who I am. I am a man and I am black. I love my people, but I think my people live in ignorance. Not in ignorance as far as getting education and having knowledge, because we are very smart, we are very intelligent, we seem to absorb things like this, but the things that we are absorbing and consuming and putting into our systems are absolute garbage. Why do I know that? Because of the demonstration of the things that we see presently in front of us. It's nothing good. It's nothing good. We glorify everything that's wrong. And then we want to be respected. We ally ourselves with everything that's twisted and demented, and then we want to be seen as a proud people. Other cultures don't do that. The other races don't do that. Yeah, they may go out in public and say all this wooty wooty woo and all this political garbage and jargon and stuff like that, but behind closed doors, or the people that they actually deal with, don't have nothing to do with that. We the only group of people that when we say inclusion, we mean everybody come through. And then we get upset when those same people want to exclude us from everything. What did we think was going to happen? What did we think was going to go down? Be wise as a serpent. Being wise as a serpent is being on alert, knowing what's around you, knowing your surroundings, knowing when to scram and knowing when to bite. The problem is we don't know either. We're biting at things that we shouldn't even be biting at, and we're running from things that we shouldn't even be running from. It's crazy the times we live in. And the only way we're going to fix it is to pick a side. It's either good or bad. Evil or righteous. Ain't no more in betweens no more. There is no more in betweens no more. Those days are done. So for all of you that thought it was going to be sweet and thought all it was going to take was some education and getting some money and climbing up the corporate ladder or climbing up the entrepreneurial ladder, nah, that ain't it no more. That ain't it. It's very apparent, because if it wasn't, why would you have these high powered individuals now being held to task by people who 20 and 30 years later are accusing them of things right now. Do they not have money? Do they not have material possessions? Do they not have power and influence? They have all those things, but yet they're being held to task. You gotta pick a side. You gotta decide. You gotta decide. It's really clear. And I'm gonna tell you this: in picking a side, it may not turn out like you think. There may be a lot more harder times than you may expect. You may not have everything that you wanted, but I promise you this: in the end, it's gonna be better. In the end, it's gonna be better because the day you die and you pass on from this earth, nobody's gonna care about that money. You know what's going to happen to that money? It's either going to be given to the state if you haven't made the right preparations for that money, or your family is going to sit there and argue about what's what unless you made the right preparations for that money. You know what's going to happen to that business? It's going to be given to another, and somebody else is going to run it. And they may not run it as good as you run it, or it may explode better. Steve Jobs, now dead, don't know what's happening with Apple. Don't know how Apple's ran. He don't know what the stock is like, nothing. He invented a company, and now what? We talk about him because of his accomplishment and because he was the inventor of Apple, but that's it. Can all of us hope to be a Steve Jobs? We talk about him because he's an innovator, somebody that had a vision, right? What's your vision? What is your goal? What is your motivation? Because if your only goal and motivation is money and material possessions, short lived. I don't know the motive behind Steve Jobs. I haven't really read up on Steve Jobs. I had no clue. But I did watch Social Network. Mark Zuckerberg and his pals, and we know how that drama all played out here in the present, created created Facebook out of loneliness. Uh, out of loneliness, created a social network, which basically started out as what Tinder is today, which is funny. Funny how things happen, right? What are you doing? What are we concerned? Where's our allegiance? Are we really making an impact, or are we just doing stuff to be doing stuff? Because I believe for a lot of us, if I'm 100% honest, I believe we just doing stuff to be doing stuff. I believe that we just doing things to be doing things. We don't know our direction. We don't have no purpose. We just know the things that we want, and in order to obtain them, we need to do we need to do this, and that. So you got to ask yourself, what's your purpose? What's the reason? And what side am I on? And having said that, my rant is over. Guys, continue to rock with me here. And if you're watching this on the second watch, please type second watch in those comments. It will help me out greatly. Let me know what I'm doing right or wrong. Did you agree with any other things that I had to say? Uh, Also, check out my Instagram at Sincere the Artist. I just posted over there as well. Very interesting series going. I think I'm on episode 35 of that series, as well as my TikTok at the Standard 81 Podcast. And by the way, this particular episode did drop over on Facebook and over on X, formerly known as Twitter. So go check that out as well. And let me know what you guys think of the content. I'm gonna keep on bringing it for you. Like I said, I don't care how many people watch. I don't care how many people. Um, I just want to affect that one person. That one person that's going to get it. That one person that's going to get it and is going to move them to the next level. So, done. I've said all I got to say. I hope you all have a wonderful day, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace to you all. I'm out.